Surprisingly, some of the most popular healthy habits from veganism, fasting to science-based workouts have actually gotten in the way of me seeing results. So today I'm exposing the 14 I ditched to actually see progress.
I've had enough, I've had enough. Say you've had enough.
Number 1, eliminating sugar. I already made a bunch of people angry, I'm sorry. But I was told for forever, sugar is the enemy. Avoid sugar at all costs. Sugar is the scapegoat to all your problems. And so in the past, I did eliminate it. And what did it result in? Underfueling. Let me explain. I am very lucky. I have a very active life. I'm very blessed and privileged to have that. And because of that, I have a high energy expenditure. And so what happened is I realized I was eating so many whole foods, proteins, fiber, healthy fats, all that, and I'd get so full, but I wouldn't eat enough sometimes for some of my active workout. So some days, because I was so full, I didn't realize I was still under fueling, because that's the thing, and why it's a great hack if you're trying to lose weight is eating unprocessed foods because of the pure volume of it and the satiety. But for someone who's very active and weight loss isn't the goal, I accidentally underfueled. So now I realize, yes, I'm going to get in enough fiber, protein, healthy fats from unprocessed foods, nutrient-dense foods a day, and then have some sugar. And I found it actually allowed me to feel better and have better workouts, which made me healthier. Number 2, using dry shampoo to not wash my hair as much to allow my hair to grow. Ditched it.
Separate. Have this moment of silence. I miss you.
Started with just 30 days, no dry shampoo, and I never realized how much it was drying out my hair. Also, just so much gunk would sit on my hair, like the grease and the dirt, because I wasn't washing it, and so not good for my scalp health. 3, because I piled in so much. This is more of a problem with my shampoo than my dry shampoo. I don't think I ever got all the product out because there was just so much built up. So yes, that could have come down to shampooing better. But 4, this is the biggest thing. Yes, it helped with my hair health, but the biggest thing is acne. I didn't realize, because my rationale was less washing in my hair, I didn't realize how much dirt was always in my hair. And where does that go? On your pillow. And where does my face go? I would always get these zits right here. So a little healthy habit, I just hair pillow hygiene, but dry shampoo might be doing more harm than good. I'm not a hair professional. There's definitely some that are better for you and some that are worse, but I just found I ditched it and washed my hair 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm never going back. Number 3, getting flexible without strength. I have to have a correction. I made a little mini or short of this, and I said because that would make you hypermobile. Let me explain, because yes, hypermobility is an actual disorder. I was just using it like a made-up term, like hyper, extra, mobile, I was trying to say that, so I didn't realize that was also a clinical term, so I wanted to do a correction. But what I'm saying is being flexible is good. But if you aren't just focused on flexibility and not strength, the biggest concern is, say you're in the splits. If you hurt yourself and you don't have the strength in those situations, you're just a lot more prone to injury because you're in a very fragile position. So what I was just trying to get at is, no, you will not become hypermobile, but rather you will just become weak in the full range of motion. So for me, as I got on my flexibility journey, yoga, all those kind of things, I just made sure if I'm gonna do something that is very flexible, I also have to make sure I get the strength in that. And that's where I would almost use the term, that's what mobility is versus flexibility. Mobility is being able to use strength and power in wide ranges of motion versus just being able to do wide ranges of motion. Habit number 4, doing berries or fitness classes for that matter multiple times a week. Now, first of all, I do berries for VO2 max. It is great. And this isn't so much about overtraining, because you can definitely do Pilates Monday, berries Tuesdays, yoga Wednesday. You can do those classes, but we're talking financial health. And it's not great. And the reason is being those punch passes. Be careful, because girl math is sewering us all. Because I buy a 5-pack, a 10-pack to things like berries, Pilates, and then it's free. Because when the 10-pack is there, I'll book 4 in a week because I have all these. I'm use them. And suddenly I don't account that, you do 4 classes in a week. That's $160 a week. That adds up so fast. So I realized I have to have restraint. So if I'm going to buy the punch passes, still only stick to it once, twice a week, because fitness classes are a bit more of my luxury treat yourself. I guess my girlfriend's doing a Saturday, or if I just really need to be accountable. But girl math can definitely get in the way of them, and you won't be financially responsible, and financial wellness is important, as I'm trying to learn. Habit number 5, wearing supportive workout tank tops. Flashback about 4 years ago, I was getting these massive pains in my chest and rib. At one time, I literally left the grocery store crying. My boyfriend had chased after me because I thought I was having a heart attack. but it was that painful and I couldn't figure out what it was. And it would happen every like once a week, every few weeks. And so I started writing down like, what was I doing when this happened? And the one thing I realized was I was always wearing a tank top, like a workout tank top, a lined tank top from Lululemon, something like that. I was always wearing something like that, or I'd worn my sports bra, kept it on after a workout. And so I realized it was the pressure on my ribcage. And then I thought this was uniquely thing to me, because if you didn't know, I had implants for like most of my 20s and then I got them removed. And so now like I'm like relearning my body as like a smaller chested girl again. And I thought it was crazy. I thought this was in my head. So I was in Jasper and I asked for a pair of scissors. Like, what do you need a pair of scissors for? And I was really embarrassed, but I was like, I cut out the built-in sports bra of my tank tops. And I was so embarrassed until my sister-in-law looked at me and said, oh my God, that's genius. I was like, wait, you get the pain too? She's like, yeah. I was like, oh. For my small-chested girlies, I realized the band just sits on our ribcage. Our boobs are up here. There's literally no point to this band. All it does is restrict the airflow in our ribcage. And I realized what it was, and I went down a rabbit hole researching, is when you have a sports bra like that or a tank top, it restricts your ribcage so you can't fully expand your breasts. So you're taking these shallow breaths, so you get these cramps within your muscles. And my mind was like, oh my God. So now I definitely don't recommend you just like chopping up your $50 sports bras and tank tops, because that's a risk and it probably is really damaging. But I realized I was in so much pain wearing them. It's either I cut them up so I actually wear them, and now I do. So if you look and you ever see a weird band at the bottom of my sports bra, it's because I've cut out the band. And now just a forewarning, if you are a bigger chested individual, first of all, you are blessed. But you also are probably mad and be like, Kelty, I'm not. Do you know that my back pain? Like both sides have pros and cons. And with that, of course, do not do this because you'll probably lose the support. And that support is what is reducing the chance of back pain. And so it's less of like supportive sports bras are bad. And it's more of like just us as women. I think there has to be a lot more conversation about sports bras and athletic wear and shoes specifically for women's needs. And that's one thing, is like designing sports bras and all that are really helpful for women, big chested, smaller chests, so we can just like not have to think about our clothes in terms of like functionality and cuteness. They should just be cute and functional. We live in the future. AI is here. Sorry, companies. I give you no excuses anymore. No. Unless you're a small-owned business, then you got time. But like Nike, ugh, no excuse. Lulu even. But Lulu actually has been doing research on it, so that's for another bit. I'm going to sidetrack. Habit number 6, low sodium diet. How many times have you heard this on the channel? Yes, because at one point in my life, I was an anti-salt girly. Soy sauce? No. I got those coconut aminos instead of soy sauce. No salt in my food. Plain chicken breast. Like I would check the sodium labels on my spices to make sure there's no sodium. Like that level of no sodium. Why? Because it makes us bloat. It's bad for us. And no. And I was like, oh, I get these awful calf cramps in the middle of the night. I'm in so much pain and this crash in the middle of the day. And then one day I salted my food. And everything changed. That is the crossroads of my life right there. The moment I realized you could salt your food and feel better and it tastes better. And specifically if you're athletic, because when you sweat, you lose electrolytes. And one of the primary electrolytes you lose is sodium. And so what have I started doing? I now salt my food. And 2, I do use an electrolyte supplement. And what electrolyte supplement do I love? Element. You know this. I wish this was my product. I'm going to be honest. Element, owned by Kelty. I'm a little salty. Okay, that was good for that. But I am. I'm salty. It is not my product. I wish it was Keltmint. Pending name. Anyways, why? Because of its science-based ratio of 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. I love it because it provides me so much energy. When you sweat, you lose these electrolytes, and it's a great way to replenish it. I love the taste. It tastes so good, and it's just so easy. I have a pack. I have them everywhere. I hand them out to my friends like they're goodies. I have them in my purse, my gym bag, and I usually take one before, during, or after workout. I do one a day. That's what works best for me. They also have the carbonated drink of it, and if there was anything I wish I created, it's that. I've sold my soul to get my hands on that drink. It is so good. It's everything I want. And if you, sorry, just had a moment of processing how much I like it. Yeah, I'm really obsessed, and you're probably annoyed with it, but I'm sorry. I'm going to keep telling you. And I hear it in the comments. I see it. I know you guys like it too. And if you're like, Kelty, I still don't know. Well, I got a deal for you guys. If you want to try Element, you go to drinkelement.com/Kelty and you get 1 of their sample packets with your first purchase. This is a great way to try all 8 flavors or share with a salty friend. Thank you once again, Element, for sponsoring my video. Habit number 7 I ditched. using the newest, latest skincare. Now I'm someone who loves science. I love hearing new products. I love hearing, you heard me bitching about new inventive products. They're going to make our lives better. I love quality versus quantity. But on my skincare journey, if I have one recommendation and something that's been a big game changer that I didn't used to do, before I used to see a girl talk about it, a doctor talk about it, it'd be on the news, and I see this new skincare line, this new product, and I would try it. And this goes with makeup as well and hair care. But I realized the problem is I would spend all this money, get all these new products, and I didn't actually know what was helping. So what I've started doing over the last few years, and this is why I don't do a lot of skincare, makeup, and hair care routines, because it very seldomly changes, because I only bring in one product at a time. And if a product is semi-working, I have to use it before I get a new one. So for example, if vitamin C was the first thing I did this, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to use vitamin C on my skin. And I saw progress on it. I was like, wow, I used Drunk Elephant's vitamin C at the time. I loved it. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to try one of their other products in a couple months. And then I slowly did it. And now I have a really structured skincare, hair care, makeup routine that works specifically for my skin, hair type, and skincare. It was really hard for me knowing what I'm wasting my money, because one day I remember looking at my skincare and I had like 15 products and I was like, half of these for sure are doing absolutely nothing. But how did I know? And I didn't want to quit. My skin was looking great. And so actually I did that by eliminating one thing at a time and seeing if it actually had any benefits. And sometimes I'll do that. If I look, if my hair care routine is a little too crazy, I'm like, okay, for a month, we are not using this. We're going to see if there's any difference. And this goes to supplements as well. But even just because something's new and the best thing ever doesn't rationalize buying it and implementing it into your routine. Use up what you have if there's a need and just bring in one thing at a time. Treat your skin, hair, and makeup like a science project. And I know that's boring, but if it's like an artistic thing and you do it for fun, that's a whole different ball game. And we're not getting into that. Habit number 8, avoiding all fitness trends and fads. Because yes, I used to be like, oh, I'm so science-based. You know, I went to school for science and I only studied, but just like I said, which is obnoxiously me being that annoying person right before. And so if I saw something, I'm like, no, what's it, Zumba? No, there's actually no science before, so I will not be doing it. I only do strength training, VO2 max sprinting, and I'm very strict because science, that's goddamn boring. Oh my God, I remember so many years, everything had to be so science-based. Guess what? Tracy Anderson, not a really super science-based workout, but my God, is it fun! And sometimes that's all it's supposed to be. I went there ready to tear this apart because it's just you're flailing in a hot room and they just crank up the humidity so you think you're sweating, you're dancing around. And I left it saying, oh my God, I want to do that all the time. It was so much fun. My endorphins, serotonin, peak! So sometimes, yes, be careful. I think that's the thing, is like you can try things and it just be simple and fun. If it's trending, enjoy it. Go try the new Zumba class. Go try the new Pilates. Just try it. And I think there's like a lot of discourse on social media, and I fall victim to it all the time. The super science-based people, which we need, and they're amazing. And then people who are just selling us these fads that are over-promising things. And then there's like things that are popular and we want to hate it just because it's popular. And it's like, you know what, sometimes it's not that deep. Have the foundation of your program be science-based, and you know what, try the new thing. It could be fun. It's just a fun way to move your body. And so yeah, now I do the fads, and it's fun, and it's not that deep. Habit number 9 is kind of a combo of the last two, is starting a whole new science-based workout and nutrition program. I'm guilty of that. I go and do all the research and I get the perfect workout, the perfect, foods to include in my diet in January because they're in season, and, I need omegas and this, and, we have this all. And then I do all this work and I don't actually know what's doing anything. So once again, with supplements, skincare, and your workout and nutrition, I've actually seen the most results of instead of completely changing everything, it's changing one thing a month. It's simple, but I actually know if I'm getting results. Right now, I talked about previously in a video, is I had a cholesterol number that was a little off and it was a little alarming. And so at first I was like, hey, I'm going to change this. I'm going to start adding this and this. And yes, maybe I could get there faster, but I actually don't know what's helping. So every few months, I've just changed a few little things, whether right now I'm really working on high quantities of omega-3s. And I'm going to do that for a few months, get my blood work tested, and see if that helped. Now, I'm not a doctor. I cannot give doctor's advice. So please listen to your doctor if you have any medical things. I just felt that was a really clear example. And that can just even go with your workouts. Say growing a booty is what you really want to do. Instead of changing your entire thing, is maybe add just a little bit more a specific exercise, whether it be nutrition. Instead of trying a whole new diet, maybe just try adding a bit more fiber in your diet. Start with small things. They're more likely to be sustainable. Then you can actually see what's benefiting you. Habit number 10, veganism. It's 2020. Netflix just released Game Changers, and now you're vegan. Yeah, sounds we all did it. I'm going to be honest, reflecting back in 2018 to 2020, I did like a lot of like, it was just classic, even on YouTube. I was a lot smaller then, but I would just be like plant-based. And that was the whole thing to say online. That was like the correct thing to say online is health. And at the time we truly believed like there was this research coming out, there's things like Game Changer. And that was the in thing. If you put full day vegan, plant-based, vegan, it would just blow up. It was just a cycle. And looking back, I know my body didn't feel the best it ever has when I went vegan. I was really bloated from the high fiber. I felt like I could never quite get the protein enough. And this, you can definitely do it. You definitely can, but it takes a lot of work. And I definitely then, even though I was trying, didn't do it good enough to feel my best. And it's made me reflect. I actually went full vegan when I was like 18 and I went for like pure ethical reasons. I did it. And then I told myself, oh, I'm not going to do it on Thanksgiving. So my family doesn't have to cook me an extra, vegan thing, because this is before veganism was the thing. And then I had my first bite of turkey after a couple months, and I'm pretty sure I ate the whole turkey, and then veganism was done. I was young and did not have willpower. Yeah, brain not fully formed back then. Which goes to say, I truly respect so much people that go purely vegan for their moral, ethical beliefs, anything that they feel best in. I support that fully. And if you're that, or you're considering that, I'm not going to deny. But this is an example of like figuring out what works for you. And I just realized I never fully felt great being vegan. Now, I still enjoy doing plant-based things. I'll still have a plant-based meal. I still love going to vegan restaurants. I haven't gone carnivore or anything, but it just made me reflect on like what in my diet can I use that helps the environment, makes me feel best. And I felt what worked better for me than just going pure vegan was I choose to eat in season. I try to have less food waste and eat local. And I realized like that I felt I could do the most consistently for the longest amount of time and do the most impact. It's just eating local, seasonal fruits and vegetables, produce, whole foods. And that really resonates with me and just makes me feel more of a part of my community. And I feel my best when I do that. And I'm actually going to use a quote from my friend Joe Lee, and he had a company that's called Be Less Shitty. And it was kind of him coming out of being veganism and just being more conscious. And I think that's the best thing we can do is like, you don't have to be perfect. Just try to do what works best for you. And so I realized I was being vegan more so I could say I was vegan, like, look how great I am, versus like truly someone who's vegan and passionate about it, which I love you if you do that. And I realized what can I do that works best for me? And that's more local, supportive of my communities. So not anti-vegan, but didn't work for me. Habit number 11, growing my booty and having aesthetic goals. There is no bigger badge in the fitness world than a thick, juicy peach. There was a time online, if your booty was big enough and you took it at the right angles, you indeed would have 1 million followers and a full career. It was indeed a thing. And at the time, I was trying to get into this career. I was trying to get online, and I was like, you know what you need to do? You need to grow a big booty, and that is what will get you views. And I spent years, and I did grow my glutes, and I spent so much of my focus, how I ate, how I worked out. Everything was just about my butt, getting my butt bigger. And then one day I just had this epiphany. I was like, this is a lot of time and energy and thought on a butt. It's a butt. Now, of course, it's still important muscle to work on. It's the foundation of a lot of athletic things, but like, I was just like, why? And I was also getting kind of to my genetic potential a little bit. I remember at the time and just be like, oh, Kelty, we're going to have a little talk right here. You will never be Summer Rae. No. No. Stop. Kelty, you, long femurs, small hips. And I suddenly like start breaking it down. I'm like, my glutes are strong, but they're never going to be big, thick, and juicy. So now I train my glutes for performance. It helps with my back. And yeah, I do still want a little bit of a oomph, but it's just like how much of your time and energy, like that extra, 6 hours, 12 hours a week of mental capacity, physical training, just for like an extra, maybe couple millimeters every year. I'm like, why? So yeah, and that was with aesthetic goals. It was just reflecting on like, what is something great about me? And then I was like, you know what? I actually like my long femurs and I like my long torso. And that's a benefit that some other people would like. So instead of just like hating the things about myself I don't have, is I started celebrating the things I do have. So yeah, so there's nothing wrong with aesthetic goals, but I think if you're going to have them, we have to have genetics associated. And I still look at those girls. I follow those girls. I support those girls. I hype them up more than anyone. Because I was like, you know what? I can't have it, but I'll look at yours. Habit number 12, fasting. I no longer fast because most of the research that's been done about fasting has been done on men, not women. It's just not as known. And the more I look into people like Dr. Stacey Sims and some just professionals that are talking more about like women in fasting, it just doesn't seem to benefit us as much. And I naturally do intermittent fasting. Like I wake up, I'm not hungry, I go about my day, and I prefer to have food, a couple hours after I work out. But I realized just because something comes naturally and easy doesn't always necessarily mean that's the best thing for you. And I was kind of doing this. Like I was never like a hardcore intermittent faster. I was never like, wait till 10 a.m. Like I'd always have like a little bite of something. I was like, oh, it's going to tide me over. Now I realize like that's actually beneficial. So I always make sure to have calories right when I wake up. Even it's something small. Like I don't have breakfast right when I wake up because I'm not hungry, but I do work out in the morning. So I like to have something in my stomach so I have more energy in my workouts. The term hormone balancing, I'm not going to use, but I'd say try it. If you're a woman, try it. See what works best for you. I'm not a doctor, but the doctors like Dr. Stacey Sims seem to be saying it is not as beneficial for women. So right now, over the last couple of years, when I wake up, have coffee, have a little bite of something, go to the gym, and then have breakfast after instead of just nothing before the gym. And that seems to be, I have more energy and more sustained energy throughout the day, and I enjoy it. Habit number 13, meditating. I'm not saying meditating's bad. I've done the challenge. I've tried it. And I think for me, I realized I constantly in the health and wellness industry, I always feel like I'm doing not enough. I'm always doing something wrong. I could be doing more of this, doing more of that. And I just always feel like I'm missing. And I always have this sense of guilt. And meditation was another. I hear all these people that are better than me and doing well and doing all this. And they take the time to meditate. It was always this thing of guilt. And I realized what actually works best for me is like figuring out those little tools in my toolkit to help with my mental health, building my mental health, and when I need something. So for me, it's like the double inhale, so just taking some deep breaths, going on a walk, listening to some music, dancing. Honestly, one of the biggest ones for me, and it kind of is meditating, is just laying on a hard ground. Sometimes whenever I'm wild, I just sprawl on hard, cold ground. I'm like, just be. And then just feeling that. And then sometimes it's breathing. And I realized, yes, I could take the time to meditate, but I just make sure to take time in the morning to myself. And I have those tools when I need them. And it's not anti-meditation. I'll probably end up doing it one day. But it's just like, I don't have to sit here and think I'm an awful person, unhealthy, crappy mental health just because I'm not meditating. And I think that was what a realization. Just because I'm not doing everything on the wellness checklist doesn't mean I'm broken, flawed, and unhealthy. Now, like I'm doing pretty good. And I think you are too, even if you aren't meditating. Even though we should meditate. Which perfectly leads me to habit number 14, not taking health so seriously. And yes, technically health is the most serious thing because it's like life or death. But at the same time, I spent so much time optimizing nutrition, health, wellness, researching these things. And they're important and they're good, but like sometimes it's so heavy. Health and wellness is so heavy. And it definitely can be when it's like disease and all that. But like sometimes there's some stuff I'm like, it's not that deep. Okay, you haven't had a blueberry in a couple months and they're good for your antioxidants. It's not that deep. You fell off the train in December. You weren't weightlifting in October, Kelty. Let's be honest. It's not that deep. Get back to it. And less of this tie of like our identity and self-worth on our health and nutrition and fitness. It's like, it's something we do so we feel good. It's not like you're a flawed, awful human because your health and wellness isn't perfect. And sometimes it's not that deep. I don't trust people who don't lick the knife. It's important, but sometimes we just need to step back and laugh. At least I do. Sometimes I'm like, I ate a bagel because I ate a bagel. Don't look that much into it. I did Pilates. Why? I felt like doing Pilates. It's not that deep. And yes, try to have a structured program, but also sometimes just tell yourself it's not that deep. It's not that deep. That's a reminder for me. But anyways, those are the 4 healthy habits I actually ditched to see improvements. I feel like I'm just in a better place mentally, physically, and emotionally thanks to doing those things. But I'd love to hear down in the comments any that you ditched, or maybe some of those actually have been beneficial. I'd be more than happy to hear about that in the comments because that's one of my favorite things about this channel. I'm different from you. You're different from me. We can always talk down in the comments and just like having other people's opinions and results and like always test things. And some work for me and don't work for me, and they work for you or don't work for you. But moral of the story, the most important healthy habit that I'll always stick to is petting dogs. Because have a great day. Go pet a dog. Love you guys. Bye.